Welcome back. The State Capture Inquiry report and upcoming provincial conferences were top of the agenda for this weekend's ANC NEC meeting. The affairs of the troubled Women's League also high up on what needed to be addressed and discussed. But let's unpack it now, the outcomes of that meeting. We're joined by the ANC spokesperson, Pule Mabe, who joins us on the line this morning. Mr. Mabe, thanks very much for coming on. Many analysts talking about the writing being on the wall insofar as the former Social Development Minister, leader of the Women's League, the ANC Women's League, is concerned. I'm talking about Batabile Dlamini being asked to step down from the party or to step aside. What's your comment on that as the ANC?
Morning and morning to your viewers. Of course, we did have a ordinary National Executive Committee meeting of the African National Congress. Our Treasurer General, who now takes charge of the work of the Secretary General's office, will today at 2 o'clock address members of the media on the outcomes of that National Executive Committee, including the subject matter that we have now spoken about as it relates to Comrade Batabile Dlamini. So it is only fair because analysts do not sit in the NEC of the ANC. The ANC will be able to talk on its behalf, because until the lion write its own story, the hunter will always tell the story.
Just some context for our viewers here. The court just some weeks ago finding the former minister, the head of the ANC Women's League, Batabile Dlamini, guilty of perjury. Mr. Mabe, you know, some criticism around the handling not only of the outcomes of this court case against Batabile Dlamini, but several other issues as well, which we'll get to. But the lack of comment from particularly the party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, in the wake of some damning decisions in the country's courts.
Well, I don't understand. Can you just repeat that? I'm trying to understand your question.
Well, the president hasn't really said much around issues involving, for example, Batabile Dlamini. There have been several key members of the ANC also. We'll get to the State Capture Inquiry report in a moment. But highlighting, for example, Gwede Mantashe, the ANC chairperson in the State Capture Inquiry report as well, and the silence around issues of this nature, serious issues of this nature, the silence from the president.
Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about, really, you know, because we issue statements of the ANC NEC. This is for the first time that the NEC has said ever since there's been this development. So you are really being unfair, you know, because the president of the ANC is not the spokesperson of the organization, or nor does he come out to pronounce on decisions of the NEC every time they come out. It's important that yourselves in the media give yourselves time to understand the constitution of the African National Congress, including powers of the National Executive Committee and what we are expected to do. Because what we are now saying to your viewers clearly demonstrates and reflects that there seems to be lack of understanding on how the ANC operates. Today, the ANC will have its own press conference where it will brief the media on the outcomes of its NEC. It will also be dealing with a number of topical issues that are out there in the public. The ANC has to be criticized unfairly, even when it has not even spoken, because organizational structures would not have said. Decisions of the ANC are not taken on the street. Decisions of the ANC are taken in meetings. The ANC is a self-respecting organization. Yourselves in the media, those that want to criticize the ANC, need to appreciate that we are not a street vendor. We are an organization, self-respecting one for that matter, have got a constitution, the supreme law of our own organization that guides and governs the work we do.
Mr. Mabe, there is a hunger, though, isn't there? And at no point did I call the ANC a street vendor. The ANC is the governing party of the country. I'm just asking you whether there is a hunger from South Africans to hear a more vocal president of the governing party.
Well, I think, look, let's talk about the NEC. We're talking about the outcomes of the NEC. If you want to invite me to a program to come and talk about the president of the party, let's have a separate program for that. Today, let us use this precious time that you've invited us for to talk about the outcomes of the NEC. If I was invited here and told that I'm going to have to focus attention on the president of the ANC, then I would have prepared differently. When I was invited, the invite was quite clear. I was invited to come and talk about what would then happen following our own NEC. So it was for that reason that we had to wake up early this morning to talk to your good viewers.
Well, you're spokesperson of the governing party. I mean, I would think that we could speak on a whole range of issues.
Can we try and move and talk about the issues I was invited for? Because what you are talking to me about has really nothing to do with why I was invited here. Because when we issue the statement of the NEC, the views it reflects also captures the very views expressed by our president in his opening address and closing address. The president of the ANC has on numerous occasions made time to speak to the media through his closing addresses. We have always made those open to the public. He has also had several other engagements with your own journalists from Newzroom Afrika. On the sidelines of the 110th anniversary, the president spoke, had one-on-ones with your own, I think it was Cholim Gambi, if my memory serves me well. We have made such opportunities available even in the past. So records, if you go to your own records, your own archives, you will see that the ANC has made its president available even to Newzroom Afrika in the same way that it does with all other media outlets. You're correct. We can cover a broad range of issues and also give you some of this historic information if people might have forgotten about them.
Mr. Mabe, let's talk about the state capture inquiry report. High up on the agenda of the ANC NEC and how the party is going to proceed in the coming weeks. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we have received a report around the task team led by Comrade Jeff Hadebe on the work they are doing to formulate the party's response to the recommendations of the Commission on State Capture. This is clearly captured in a recordal of decisions which the Treasurer General will be outlining. And as he outlines that, members of the public will then appreciate that we are already beginning to act on those recommendations. A number of steps have been agreed upon, which will be undertaken henceforth. The Treasurer General will use the occasion of the press briefing this afternoon to outline such steps.
Pule Mabe, thanks very much indeed for your time.